This is the Lichtman Live Post Show, the greatest post show that's ever existed on the face of planet Earth. I'm your host, your guide, Sam Lichtman. Some people call me Sammy Lick. Some people call me Sammy. Some people call me Slammy. Some people call me Slam. Some people call me Juice. That's an old school. If you know, you know. Probably no one knows. All right. Who's here? Jeff Boyle, President Colletti, Joe Joestar. Cap the Cap, Patrick Harris is in the house. Brian Gilbert, hello. RG, we are live, Abe. Should AOC run for New York governor? I don't know. I don't really care that much. Good evening from Asbury Park, says Suzanne AP. Tim's here. James Lacruta's here. RG says, I'm glad I learned about Booker voting for Kushner. That's disturbing. He's my senator. Yeah, that is a little weird. Why did he vote for Kushner? I don't get it. Michael Nightwolf is in the chat. Abe says, I think AOC would be a much better fit for the Senate. Yeah, I feel like I agree with you. Lily's here. BJM says, hello from New York. Diego D says, I wish people would spare me the phony outrage about Biden concealing the illness. He wasn't the only one, not condoning it, but don't act like this is anything new. What do you mean by the illness? You mean his cancer? Is there reporting that he was concealing his cancer? I'm not sure about that. Joe says, it's true, the reality show with the Duck Dynasty guys about immigration. That's insane. That's really insane. James says, Schumer has served his time in the Senate. Time to turn the page. Debbie says, hello, Sam. Give it to us real. What do you want to... I'm here to give it to you real, Debbie. What do you want to know? Colletti, sometimes I notice you ask basically the same question, but just like phrased ever so slightly different. I feel like I've answered that question many times. Trump's and others are saying Biden was concealing his cancer for some time. Okay. I feel like, I don't know. Is that something maybe the voters should have known? Maybe, but he also wasn't running. So I feel like that's sort of a personal thing, a personal decision. And I know he's representing the American people as president, but still, I feel like whether you want to tell the public that you have cancer or not is kind of up to you. I don't know. Bettina says, hello from Seattle. I like how you pronounce France. Hello, Jeanette. President says, I hate when we get stuck on one topic for the rest of the live stream. Last live stream Thursday, we were stuck on movies for the rest of it. I did get a chance to speak. Sometimes it's just an interesting topic, and I go off of it. There's nothing wrong with that. President Colletti, you get plenty of time to get your questions answered. Don't you? Don't give me that. Look up Noam's reality show. She's trying to run away from it now. I don't even want to give that my attention, to be honest with you. Allan's always talking about the spineless den, but why hasn't he called the mainstream media spineless? I feel like he calls the mainstream media spineless all the time. Lily says the movie convo was fantastic. Thank you. Alexander says, I've been watching you two for about a year and a half now, and I'm a big fan, so I just wanted to say that it means a lot to me when your father called me a friend of the show. Thanks to both of you. Thank you, Alexander. Beagle Malm says, I would have taken President Biden in a heartbeat, and Kamala would have just stepped in behind him. Hindsight is 2020. I kind of agree with that too, the hindsight thing. Did you speak with your father about the new economic model? I have not, no. Diego says, yeah, I don't miss a live either unless I'm working a concert event. Well, thank you for that, Diego. We appreciate that. What Netanyahu is doing to Gaza is best described as apartheid. I think what's happening in the West Bank is usually considered apartheid. What's happening in Gaza is just horrific devastation. I mean, it's way worse than apartheid. Who do you think will be going to the NBA Finals for the East and the West? I'm going Knicks Timberwolves. That's my bet as of right now. Rolo says, I know you're tired of talking about the former 46. I am and I'm not. I mean, I think it's fine to talk about Biden. He was just our president. It's not like... But I think there's more pressing issues than talking about Biden. Let's just say that. Debbie says, let's talk about how we can get rid of Trump. As of right now, there's no way to get rid of Trump. They're not going to impeach him. The best we can do, in my opinion, is wait until the midterms. Maybe if there's some sort of big blue wave, control of the House and Senate, then we could start talking. Hello, Kevin Belmont Luna. What can we do to save those poor children starving in Gaza? I don't know. I really don't know. It's pretty horrific. Are they still protesting for the Palestinian people? Not like they were last spring. I think there was maybe like a little bit of a protest in Colombia recently, but they snuffed it out pretty quickly. I don't think these college campuses are gonna... I think they're gonna crack down pretty hard on this stuff pretty quickly. And schools, I think school's already out already, so I don't think we're gonna see anything major, at least on the college campus level. Which I don't really understand, because it's not really any better in Gaza. Like, why? The only thing that maybe I can think of is people are afraid because of the crackdowns that Trump is doing. People just can't because universities are just cracking down so quickly. Close game in game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. What's the score? Beagle says, we have to do something for those kids. We can't let this SHIT go on a minute. But I hear you, but what should we do? Educate DeFria says, do you think they regret this? I don't think they anticipated this from Trump 2.0. That's a hard question to answer. I mean, who do you mean by they exactly? And how do I know? Even if you say like the far left, it's like, well, I don't know how many of the far left voted for Biden or Harris or didn't, or you know what I mean? That's kind of a hard question to answer. $60-56 Timberwolves are up. I can't say your name sometimes. Pyrolon says, Biden could live another 5 to 10 years with his cancer. It's so overblown. He could have likely served his entire second term. Yeah, I hear that. Sam, have you ever heard any YouTube presentations by Seth Andrews? He's interviewed people that have researched less on Christian nationalists and their attacks on education. I do not know that person, but I'll check him out if I remember. Emily says they should give the wasted U.S. aid food to foreign national doctors to distribute as a gift of goodwill. It's a sin to waste food when kids are starving. I agree, but who's going to do that? Someone within the United States government would still have to facilitate that. And ain't nobody in this Trump administration going to facilitate that. Let's not forget just how astonishing Benjamin Netanyahu has turned Israeli politics 100 degrees on its head. Yeah, he's the worst. Diego says, I think he is losing people in the center and far left who voted for him over Gaza. I don't think MAGA is jumping ship just yet. No, MAGA is definitely not jumping ship. Yeah, I think maybe people in the center who voted for him are feeling some remorse. The far left is confusing. It's hard to know what they did in this election. If I was to predict, I would predict that a lot of them either didn't vote, voted for a third party, or like some sort of write-in vote. I would be pretty surprised if people on the far left actually casted a vote for Trump. I mean, that would be almost insanity. But I do think a lot of them, and I do think a lot of them probably voted for Harris too. I would say the majority either voted for Harris or didn't vote, / voted for a third party. Gaza never pulled all that high. That's a fair point. There's not many on the far left. That's another good point. Yeah. I don't know. It's a hard thing to nail down. Like, also, like, who do you consider to be, who do you consider to be far left? And are young people who are leftist considered? I don't know. It's kind of a hard discussion to have without, like, concrete data about it, or like, I don't know. Diego says some far left did vote Trump thinking he'd stop what's happening in Gaza and cut Pentagon spending, per David Pacman. Okay, I'd like to see where he's getting that data from. I mean, if he's just talking to people, that's not really great evidence, but I guess I could see that happening. I think it's pretty crazy assumption that Donald Trump, one of the most pro-Israel, staunch Israel presidents, would do anything about this. But I guess you never know. Michael says, I know progressives who voted for Trump, but also voted for people like Bernie and AOC. It's a very mixed and scattered election. Yeah. Everett says, if someone voted for Trump, they were never left. That's kind of how I feel. If you're truly involved in politics and understand what's happening and you're a leftist, I just cannot see how you could, in full cognitive awareness, vote for Trump. Hello, Adrian. Trump is just toying with the stock market. He's just tricking investors into believing there will be a sigh of relief on the horizon for the economy. It's interesting how Qatar has bought off so many in the Trump cabinet. Pam Bondi worked as a Qatar lobbyist. The progressives I know who voted for Trump weren't Democrats, they were independents. Even so, again, if you're hyper aware and knowledgeable about politics and you really believe in leftist values, you can't vote for Donald Trump. I mean, that's just insane. And if you thought he was going to save Gaza, again, where's your proof of that? Other than him just babbling on about stopping wars on day one. And if you buy that, I don't think you have a deep understanding of politics or Trump's political brand, et cetera, et cetera. Debbie says, my sister is a diehard MAGA. She lied and told me that gas in Michigan is $1.99 and eggs are $2.99. These Republicans have been hypnotized by this POS. They only listen to him. They lie, lie, lie. Jill Stein voters in many swing states didn't vote for Harris on purpose. Stein's running mate said, yes, we wanted Trump so we could fight him. His response was odd for a leftist. Huh? Adrian says, I hate it when people are shocked Trump does something. He moves as quiet as lifted, bass boosted Ford F1. Yeah, I think I've made that point before. If you're surprised or you're shocked or you never saw it coming, that's your own fault, because he is not subtle. Patrick Harris says, Trump won because people believed he would fix the economy. I think that's a fair point. Did you know only around 45% of the U.S. population support the American Continental Military War effort in the American Revolutionary War? I did not know that. Far left would vote for Trump if they are an accelerationist, i.e., they vote for him to break the system we currently have in order to build something new. But what's your evidence that Trump is going to break the system we already have? In fact, fascists usually pour concrete on the system and make it as rigid as humanly possible so nobody can break the system. So that doesn't make any sense to me either. Why did your father criticize Jake Tapper for writing the book, even though Democrats' numbers are low? In which on of the cases was for the numbers was the cover-up of Joe Biden's health? I'm not exactly sure what you're saying. I think my dad's criticism of the book is honestly a little bit overblown. I do think the book overall is kind of ridiculous. You know, you just got these people being like, he didn't remember his old age. It's like, again, we all knew he was an old dude. Most people his age forget stuff like that. I don't think there was any concrete signs that he wasn't running the country or he wasn't up for the job. It seemed to me like he was out there doing the job. Was he old and forgetful and a little babbling old man? Yes. Kyle says, has your dad's channel ever got a donation as big as T-Girls from last week? That's a good question. I think we might have gotten a $500 donation once, but it's either first or second. So shout out to T-Girl, although I don't see her. I haven't seen her in the chat, but shout out to T-Girl. Pyrolon says, if there was a cover-up of Biden, why was he allowed to debate in June of 2024? Good point. You should have Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson on Lichtman Live to discuss the issue. Maybe I don't. But like another thing, I don't think it's that important of an issue right now. I mean, would it be cool to have Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson on? Yeah, but it would take a lot of effort for us to get them on, and my opinion is that Jake Tapper wrote this and thought that he was gonna be, breaking this amazing story, Woodward and Bernstein style, and it's kind of blowing up in his face. VKM says, check out the Wikipedia article on the 24 election. The issue questions section shows there are some minorities, usually under 5%, making very unintuitive choices. Sam, in your opinion, was the Rust Belt an inevitable flip? Not necessarily. Maybe. I think when I saw the unions start to pull out and not support Harris, that's when I was like, uh-oh, this could flip the Rust Belt. Before that, not necessarily. Kyle says Biden was a very poor choice to be the Dem nominee in the first place in 2020. Yeah, but he won. What do you want? I mean, what do you want to do about it? I'm not sure what the point of that debate is. It's like he shouldn't have been the nominee. Okay, but he was. And he was elected pretty handedly by blue primary voters. So, hello, Channel 1 Texas. Emily says, I remember in 2024, Trump goons destroyed ballot drop boxes. Trump terrorists made bomb threats in Georgia and lowered the voter count. It was not just election, it was dirty. Adrian says, Biden made sense in 2020, in my opinion, because of the back to normal branding. So it made sense on why it happened. I agree with that. Tony says, why are there so many ignorant and stupid people in the U.S.? I don't buy that line of reasoning. I don't think people in the U.S. are stupid. Did you know that Karl Marx, the author of the Communist Manifesto, wrote a letter to Abraham Lincoln in 1864 and congratulated Lincoln on his re-election? I did not know that. Spencer says, media covered Biden's mental health like it was 9/11, treated Trump with kid gloves. Either he's Hitler or he's playing 5D chess somehow. Can't fit this into a super chat. I don't know. Yes, I agree that Biden's mental or cognitive health was overblown. Do I think the media treated Trump with kid gloves? Not necessarily. I mean, the media goes after Trump like crazy. But he just gets... The thing with Trump is that he just kind of gets away with things in the public discussion that nobody else would ever get away with. Rose says, Sam, you're right. The Teamsters internal polls showed support for Biden before he dropped, and then a huge shift after that candidate. After change of candidate. Yeah, I think that was a big red flag when I saw it. I was like, uh-oh, this isn't looking good. Bryce says, I warned the Democrats back in 2021 that if Harris runs against Trump in 24, she will lose. Damn, Bryce, that's good on you, man. Imagine if Obama got a $400 million jet from Qatar. I mean, it's frustrating to even talk about because the hypocrisy is... It's so blatant and people just get away with it. Yeah, like obviously if Obama got a $400 million jet from Qatar, the right wing and Fox News would be, I mean, it wouldn't even, bloody murder isn't even the right word. But it's like, at what point of saying, I feel like everybody said that a million times. You know, if the Dems did this, if Obama did that, can you imagine? But it doesn't seem to make any difference how many times we point that out, which is frustrating. and demoralizing. Adrian says, I don't think Harris was that bad of a candidate, and I do feel like she's getting a lot of flack for dumb shit, honestly. Someone's laugh or their cringeness is such a forced hating point. I mean, she was set up to fail, basically. She was anointed the candidacy with 2 months left to win the presidency. I mean, that's a tall task for anybody. You know? Only 60 likes, guys. Don't forget to like the stream. I don't know. I just kind of feel like we can dissect Harris as a candidate all day long. I think the fundamental issue was she was given 2 months to win a presidential election. Do I think AOC is charismatic? Potentially, yeah. I find her fairly charismatic, so. Lily says she only lost by 2 million plus votes. She did well under the circumstances. Yeah. You know, the right wing wants you to believe that Trump's win was this grand mandate. And if you look at the popular vote, it really wasn't. Yeah, he destroyed the Electoral College, but Electoral College is essentially a made-up system. Thank you, Spencer, for becoming a member. I forgot I have memberships on this channel. Should AOC and Bernie be emphasizing their crowd size? No. Nobody cares about crowd size, except for Trump. AOC comes across as a kid. I don't agree with that. BKM says, I remember someone saying the Dems got Walz to stop being so outspoken against Trump, and that hurt Harris somewhat. I don't know. Diego says, you got to admit the calling them weird thing was working for a while. I don't know. Working in what sense? I mean, it was sort of working on social media and in the media. Is that turning votes or changing people's votes? I don't think so. AOC and Bernie should emphasize their crowd sizes just to wind up Trump. I mean, I'm getting tired of winding up Trump. You know, it's like, how long do we have to wind this guy up for him to just keep power and keep bulldozing through all our shit, you know? Everett says the time to analyze the last election is over. Trump won, and we have to get rid of him. I mean, I agree with that to an extent. I mean, people are going to analyze this election for decades to come, and will probably be. I mean, there already are books about. You know what I mean? But I kind of agree. Like in this moment, I don't get a lot of pleasure or benefit from being like, Harris did this wrong and Trump did this right and Dems did this. It's like, it's kind of, what's the word? Feels kind of pointless right now. Beagle Mom says, I see what is happening and can't stop working to do anything. If there was anything to be done, exactly how much longer? I'm not sure I get your question. Any chances of a GeoGuessr stream this week? Maybe. I gotta get back on the GeoGuessr. Bryce says, I think it's gonna be Gavin Newsom versus JD Vance in 2028. I think Newsom will win as long as he picks a running mate from the Midwest. Ugh, that sounds like a gross election to me. I'm not the biggest Gavin Newsom fan. Fry says, you sound like you're starting to get discouraged. I don't know about starting. I was pretty discouraged from the moment Trump won. The word you're looking for, Sam, is moot. Right. Pyrolon says, if I ran, DNC ads would be used sparingly and spent it all on a ground game. If GOP puts up voting barriers, work that angle. Ads versus ground game. I don't know. I don't know if that's especially on a presidential election. I don't know if that's moving like that decision one way or the other. I don't know if that's moving the needle that much. Adrian says the hopelessness low key is so real though. I've disengaged from politics and I've just been hiding because I feel kind of just discouraged and stressed out from the pressure. I feel that too, man. I feel that. Who scares you more, Trump or Vance? Kind of Vance, honestly. TM, you missed a live show? Come on, bro. You gotta get on that live show. Kev says, where the heck is Anonymous already? Man, I'm so sick of people. Like, Anonymous has never done shit, man. Never. I've never seen anything from Anonymous that's done anything that's shaked the world, you know. Thank you, Jaden, for becoming a member. Philip H says, it will not matter if Dems win the House in 26. Trump has already neutered the legislative branch. Everything is done through executive order anyway. Once the judicial falls, it's over. I see what you're saying. I still have a little bit of hope for... I mean, his ruling through executive order is kind of a lot of hot air. It is and it isn't. Like, some things are becoming sort of real and some things aren't becoming real. It's a weird tactic because it's not how the president is supposed to govern, right? So it's like, in one hand, a judge can easily slap it down, but on the other hand, Trump can easily ignore it. It's a strange thing we're experiencing. Oh, thank you, Jeanette, for your donation. Excuse me. What's your current opinion on the Dark Brandon YouTube account? I don't know what that is. Veronica says, we need to keep fighting back. Don't give up. I mean, you're right about that, of course. But it's like, what can we do that's actually going to make a difference? Lily says, I believe the midterms will be irrelevant to democracy will have fallen by then. Jeez, that's morbid. VKM says, you still need a Dem House majority to ensure the GOP can't throw out states' votes in 2028. You guys are starting to scare me. Is it bad to say I don't really care what Harris does next? Like, I don't care if she runs for governor. I don't care if she runs for president again. I just don't really care. Sammy, if you got nominated for president, what would you do? Just a random curiosity. That's too hard of a question. My brain, it's 10:40 at night, 2 hours of stream, and my brain can't think that smartly right now. Diego says the midterms aren't going to be the issue. They think they can win by scrubbing voters off the rolls. But the backlash will be real. Will it? I don't know, man. I don't know if the backlash will be real. Feels like people have been telling us the backlash is going to be, so good against Trump and hasn't really done jack shit. Don't we have decisions at 1 a.m. tonight? I don't know what that means. The Rosie Show says, I feel like everything is happening now for a reason. Trump supporters are starting to see he is not doing anything for them at this point. Things will be okay. Thank you, Rosie Show. VKM says, I think we'll see more backlash if Trump's tariffs ruin the economy. I agree with that. Do you think Trump's health may call into question whether or not he will serve all 4 years of his second term? I don't know. I'm not going to speculate about his health. I'm not a doctor. There's a good chance we will have a major economic recession in 2028 when Trump leaves office. Why do you say that? Adrian says, as someone who works in retail, the tariff impacts are slowly starting to creep in. They've been trying to send increased shipments to clear their warehouses because of this massive front loading. Oh, there's a House Rules Committee hearing that starts at 1 a.m. tonight? On what? On the budget? Or what? Would it help if Dems continued doing successful rallies like Bernie and AOC? Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of rallies. I think what I've seen from Bernie and AOC has been cool, but if you focus all your time and energy on rallies, I think, there's a balance to it. The moral molasses, is that what you said, in America right now is staggering. Social media has dumbed down so many. If a guy like 47 could be reelected. I agree with the moral molasses. I agree with that. And I agree with social media's dumbing down everything. Sam, let's show up to the House Rules Committee. Judah says the budget meeting will be meeting at 1 a.m. in the dark of night, just like the GOP planned. Interesting. Very interesting. Malaise, that's how you say it. Thank you, Coca-Cola. I appreciate that. Kev says they want a 1 a.m. hearing on purpose. I see. I see. Michael says, Sam and I will save our democratic republic. That's a tall ask, Michael. That's a tall ask, Michael. Good old Mikey Nightwolf. Democracy is about majority versus minority. And without majority, they can't do anything legislative. That simple. Right, but Trump's not even really trying to, except for maybe the bill, his big, beautiful bill. He's not trying to do anything legislatively, right? Adrian says, it's time to leave America. Let's go to Hawaii. I don't get your joke there. Man, Hawaii is amazing, but talk about the cost of living crisis. That place is facing a affordability crisis. TG says, Hawaii is America. Adrian. What about the idea of California, Washington, Oregon becoming a new Canadian province? Seems like a fairy tale to me. Do you watch SNL? I haven't watched SNL recently, no. Have you ever seen Wendover Productions? They have an interesting video on Hawaii and why it's so expensive. I don't believe so. All these conversations about Canada becoming the U.S. or U.S. states becoming Canada. I'm surprised we're all spending it's all fairy tale nonsense, guys. Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I gotta play that again. I haven't played that in a while. Susie says, that's ridiculous. Will never happen. I know, and I don't get why it's still so much in the discourse. Still, everybody seems to be talking about it. It's nonsense. Do you think these Trump cabinet members thinking about after Trump is gone, he has immunity, but they don't? He'll just pardon all of them. Imagine if Trump pardons himself before he leaves. He might. Sam, tell us some happy news. The NBA playoffs are a lot of fun. We've got a good sports landscape right now where we can watch baseball, hockey, and basketball all in one day. That's great news. What's some other good news? Sing us a song? Nah, no song. I'm not a very good singer. SCOTUS can reverse its presidential immunity ruling. But you're saying this SCOTUS is going to do that? I don't think so. Maybe a SCOTUS in 20 years might reverse it, but not anytime soon. In your opinion, which potential Dem presidential nominee for 2020 is the closest to FDR? That's a hard bar to reach. How do I answer that question? That's an impossible question to answer. And none of them seem anything like FDR. I don't know. If SCOTUS gets scared of Trump, they may revoke it. But again, it's like, weren't they already scared enough about this guy? Like, it goes back to our earlier debate about like people shocked or appalled about what he's doing. It's like, if you were scared of Trump or scared he was going to take advantage of immunity, you shouldn't have given it to him in the first place. BKM says, I mean, he directly threatens the lives of even the conservative wing. He did. Did you see January 6th? They wanted Mike Johnson's head. They were chanting, hang Mike Pence. How is that's threatening the lives of the conservative wing? Susie K says, good news. Hopefully all of us here eat 3 meals a day, shelter, and we have so much to be grateful for compared to many other countries around the world. Good point, Susie. Yeah, Bernie Sanders is probably the closest to reaching an FDR style or benchmark, but he's on his way out of the political game. Are you shocked that Coney Barrett is voting against Trump as much as she has been? Yeah, a little bit, honestly. I was a little scared of her when she first got nominated. Sam, do you think Jon Stewart would be a good president? I don't know. I don't really know anything about his potential governing. I like him as a political activist. All right, folks. I think I'm going to sign off. It's been a great evening with you all here on Lichtman Live and Lichtman Live Post Show, the greatest post show that's ever existed on the face of planet Earth. Don't forget it. Good night, everyone. Good night to Tim, to Michael, to Everett, to Beagle Malm, to Susie K, Diego D, Fried Jemmy. Fried Jemmy says, keep your spirits up. I agree. For myself and for you.